Hello and welcome to Seton Hall Pirates TV's coverage of Seton Hall men's basketball's 68-60 win over the Butler Bulldogs. I'm Liam Plate, your host, alongside Jimmy Bliss, my analyst. We were here on Instagram Live, and now we're here coming to you on YouTube. So in that first half, the Pirates got off to a bit of a slow start. It was a pretty even game there with the Bulldogs. I mean, Jimmy, what did you see in the beginning of that first half?
Yeah, so in the beginning of the first half, it was mostly the threes were falling for Butler and nothing fell for Seton Hall. It was all defensive liabilities on the defensive side. On offense, we couldn't do anything. We were very stagnant on that side of the floor. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Seton Hall in the first half. And on the opposing side for Butler, everything pretty much went right in the first half for them, at least the first half of the first half. They were shooting their threes. They were doing well defensively. They didn't give us any easy shots. Every single shot was contested, every three, every layup. Nothing was easy for us in the first half. And Butler, they really played their hearts out right there in the first 10-12 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, Butler played very well. You know, they're making their three-pointers. I mean, Tate played fantastic, and he played really well in the second half as well, which we'll get into later. But then Kevin Willard called a timeout, and Seton Hall regrouped. They got their heads back on straight, and they really came alive. And they got a 9-point lead at the end of that first half. I mean, Jimmy, what was the big difference maker there in the end of that first half?
Yeah, so once Kevin Willard took that timeout, he was very animated. As we saw, he kind of swiped the papers that were on the table. He was kind of trying to show a little bit of fire for his team, trying to show a little bit of emotion. As soon as the timeout ended, we just saw a completely different Seton Hall team. We saw Mamu Kalashvili really take the game by the scruff of the neck. We saw him completely control the game. He had the ball in every single offensive possession. He was dribbling down the floor. He was finding the open man. He was finishing himself. He even made that three to end the half. He really took control of the game, as well as Jared Roden. Both of them, I believe Jared Roden ended the half with 10 points. Sandro had 13 to end the half. So the two of them stepped up in a big way, and that's all due to Kevin Willard and his timeout in a critical moment in the game. Yeah,
and the Pirates, they were making threes. They were playing really well underneath the basket, and it was just really an overall better performance by the team that really made the difference towards the end of that first half, giving them the 34-25 lead there. But then that second half, Seton Hall started out pretty strong, I'd say. They kept the lead going, but then Butler really came alive. I mean, we saw Tate made a bunch of threes, Harris, and then Bryce Enzi as well made the difference. Bolden and Golden, the Golden Boys there, I guess we'll call them. But, the whole Butler team really came alive. I mean, what was the biggest difference maker for the Bulldogs in that second half to make that comeback?
So in the first half, they were making threes, but it was decent percentage. They were shooting low 30 percentage. In the second half, they were shooting up to 56% from behind the arc. 56%. That's one of the best shooting performances I've ever seen in my entire life. They were finding the open man. They were making threes. They were making contested threes. The defense on Seton Hall, once again, their miscommunications were what really opened up the game for Butler to come back into the game. At one point, it was a one-point game, and at that point, we were both realizing, hey, this is a really tough game. We could actually come out of here with a loss. Luckily, we didn't, but this was ultimately due to the three-point shooting from Butler and the lack thereof of Seton Hall. We saw how Seton Hall was struggling. At one point, we were shooting 16-17%. Later on in the second half, we were shooting 26%, as our opponents were shooting 56%. They're doubling our three-point percentage. You're not going to win many games when you have half the three-point percentage of the opposing team.
Yeah, and you'd think if your team's shooting around 56% from three-point at one point of the game, you think you're gonna win that game. But like you said, it was the Seton Hall defense that really came alive and made some big stops. But there was also some breakdowns, some ill-advised shots taken by Seton Hall. I mean, a few that I can recall right now was especially by Tyrese Samuel. He took a couple ill-advised threes when the Pirates were up 2 points and up 1 point. I mean, those are not the shots you need at that point in the game. You want to try and get in the paint and get in the basket, like we talked about at halftime in Instagram Live. But, I mean, Jimmy, what can they improve on to kind of close? I mean, Pirates got the win, but what can they improve on to kind of get a better win next time and not leave it open for this Butler team that's missing their best player?
Yeah, so we saw that throughout the first half, and for the first half of the second half, we saw Mamu was dominating. Everything was going through him. For some reason, I don't know what it was, we got away from that in the second half of the second half. For the last 10 minutes of the game, the offense was not running through Mama, who barely got any touches. He only scored, I believe, 11 points, but most of them were free throws, and it wasn't really him involved in the offense. It was just him getting a few baskets here and there. We really got away from what Seton Hall does best, and that's put the ball in the hands of Mamu, put the ball in the hands of other guys like Rodin, who are good scorers. We try to give it to KO. We gave this to Shavar Reynolds, who they have a role on this team, but their role should not be controlling the ball, taking shots like that. We need to realize who we have and how to effectively use them in order to win these games. In a game like today, where we saw Sandro just completely go off in the first half, I would like to see him do more of that in the second half. He didn't get the opportunity to, so that's what I would like to see from Seton Hall going forward, is just keep doing what works. You don't have to outthink the room. If you have the best player on the floor, and he was proving today he was the best player on the floor, no one got close to his talent level. Just give him the ball, and he'll figure it out. He's going to be in an NBA roster at this point next year. He has the perfect makeup of an NBA player, let alone a college player. He's completely dominant at the college level. So just give him the ball, let him figure it out, and Seton Hall's going to win a lot more Big East games this year as long as Sandro is playing well.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed as well, that Seton Hall kind of got complacent in that second half. They were like, oh, we're winning. I'm happy with this. Let's just have some fun. And we saw that. We saw the threes taken by Aiken, by Samuel, and, some ill-advised passes on the fast break and such, and some missed dunks there. So I think they just got comfortable with how they were playing and how they were winning, that they forgot that there's still about like 10, 12 minutes left in this game that they had to keep playing and keep trying and keep getting those stops, because this Butler team, they might not be the best in the Big East right now, but they're still a very scrappy team. I mean, I think people forget. Yes, this Butler team has lost a lot of talent from last season, but last season Butler was at one point ranked number 5 in the nation. So I think they forget how talented this team was, and their 2-5 record doesn't really speak for how good this team could be, especially with Aaron Thompson. But so 68-60, the win for the Pirates here at the Prudential Center. Kind of gave it away a little bit there towards the end with blowing the lead, but they came out strong. Kevin Willard got his guys back in a row, and big games by Mamu, Rodin, all came up big for the Pirates as usual. The top 2 scorers for them. But next time when the Pirates play, they'll be playing the Creighton Blue Jays, who are a top 10 team in the country. And they'll be in Omaha, in Nebraska, for that game. So, Jimmy, very quickly, I mean, what's that game going to look like for this Pirates team? What do they need to get better on for that big game?
Yeah, so it's a big step up in competition from tonight. I know it's a Big East team that we just played, but they were missing their best player. Mm-hmm. We were hosting them, so they had to fly halfway across the country. Now the roles are reversed. We have to go halfway across the country to play a better team than us. So what we're going to need in that game is, obviously, we need Mamu to play well, to have a chance. We need our role players. We need Kale to play better than he did today. He did not play well at all, in my opinion. We need Shavar Reynolds to step up a little bit more. I'd like to see a little more of Obiagu as well. I think that he could have done a lot more today than what he actually did. I'd like to see our bench do a lot too, because against a team like Creighton, you're going to need depth to beat them. Our 5 guys are not nearly as good as their 5 guys, at least on paper. Mm-hmm. So we have to take advantage of the depth that the Pirates have in order to make it a game. And who knows, in the Big East, anything's possible. Anyone can take down anyone on any given day. I could see the Pirates coming out with a W this week against Creighton, but a lot's going to have to change. We cannot play like we did in the second half of the game tonight.
Yeah, and I think that Creighton game will be a real test for the Pirates if they're ready for this kind of Big East competition, because, I mean, this Creighton team is virtually the same team as last season that the Pirates shared the regular season title with, along with Villanova. So I think you're right. You need big games from Mamu and Rodin, and then Ike Obiagu is a guy I wanted to see more from today, and maybe we'll see some more from him in that game against Creighton. So I think it'll be an interesting game to see how that plays out. But like you said, Creighton, a very talented team. Marcus Zagorowski, probably the preseason Big East Player of the Year, one of the best players in the country. So it will be tough. You'll have to stop him. But that'll do it from our coverage here at the Prudential Center. Seton Hall, again, the 68-60 win over the Butler Bulldogs. And they'll be playing Creighton next time in Omaha. So for Jimmy Bliss, I'm Liam Plate. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.